Hey guys, once again, today's topic of the video is going to be a Wasteland's second poem or second section, which is a game of chess. The burial after that, which is the first section of the poem, is already uploaded on my YouTube channel. Link will be provided in the description below. And also, the autobiography of T.S. Eliot and his impersonal theory is uploaded on my YouTube channel. Link will be provided in the description below. So let's start right from the introduction of the poem. A Game of Chess is the second section of the T.S. Eliot's poem The Wasteland, which was published in 1922 and revised by Ezra Pound. Illusion is in the title of the poem, which is from Thomas Middleton's play A Game at Chess. This poem is written in reaction to World War One and how the modern world has affected the relationships. This poem is written in blank verse. It is a pretty confusing question among the readers of the poem about the topic of the poem. Why the game of chess is named by T.S. Eliot for this poem? Well, chess is a clear and strategic game and it is an intellectual game. So is the poem. And the poem symbolizes the relationships between a couple where love and romance is no longer exist. And their relationship has been transformed like a game where one opponent try to overcome the other and they try to employ strategies to win, and it is pretty evident in the whole poem. Moving towards the summary of the poem, this part of the poem is divided into two chapters as there are two stories from the society. One is and a couple from upper class of the society, and second is a couple from the lower class. A lady is sitting in a palace like a Cleopatra, but begging her husband, who is her lover, to talk to her. Whereas the other lady from the lower strata of the society is sitting in a pub, and she's entrapped in a marriage and she abort her kid. Moving towards the text of the poem, starting with the analysis of the whole poem stanza by stanza. So let's start right from line 77 to 78. The chair she sat in, like a burnished throne, glowed on the marble, where the glass, held up by standards wrought with fruited vines, from which a golden Cupidon peeped out. Another hid his eyes behind his wings, doubled the flames of seven-branched candelabra, reflecting lights upon the table as the glitter of her jewel rose to meet it from satin cases poured in rich profusion. This section of the poem starts with the detail of a room where this rich lady is sitting. She is sitting on a chair which is like a shiny and elaborated throne of a queen. Line 77 is from Shakespeare's play Antony and Cleopatra, where it is used for the description of Cleopatra's lavishly elaborated and decorated room. The shine of her chair is glowing on the marble. The glasses are decorated, and there is a golden Cupidon peeping out, and it has hidden its one eye with its wing. The shine of the golden Cupidon is enhancing and reflecting the lights coming from the seven branches of candelabra. The light is in the room, and these satin pillowcases are reflecting the lights of the jewel worn by the lady. Moving towards from line 86 to 95, in vials of ivory and colored glass, unstoppered lurk her strange synthetic perfumes, unjoined, powdered, or liquid, troubled, confused, and drowned the sense in odor. Stirred by the air that freshened from the window, these ascended in flattening the prolonged candle flames, flung their smoke into Laqueria, stirring the patterns on the coffered ceiling, huge seawood fed with copper. Ceiling, huge seawood fed with copper, burned green and orange, framed by the colored stone, in which satellites a curved dolphin swam. Moving towards the explanation of these lines, there are ivory and colorful jars filled with synthetic perfumes, ointments, powders, and liquids, and their fragrances are making the senses troubled, confused, and drowned. These fragrances are lifted by the air coming from the window side. Their This air was thickening and moving the flames of the candles, and their smoke was touching the decorated ceilings of the room. Now, the poet is describing the pattern of the ceiling, which is made by the golden by seawood, which is fed with copper and is burned to green and orange because of chemical reaction, and is framed with colorful stones. In the room, there is a swimming dolphin which is engraved as a decoration piece, and there is a satellite. An indication is a satellite in the last line of this stanza describes the sad environment in the room. Moving towards line 95 to 110, above the antique mantel were displayed, as though a window gave upon the Sylvian scene, the change of Philomel by the barbarous king, so rudely forced, yet there the nightingale filled all the desert with inviolable voice, and still she cried, and still the world pursues, jug jug to dirty ears, and other withered stumps of time were told upon the walls. Staring forms leaned out, leaning, hushing the rooms enclosed. Footsteps shuffled on the stair, under the sun, under the firelight, under the brush. Her hair, spread out in fiery points, glowed into the words, then would be savagely still. Moving towards the explanation of these lines, and there is a window which is shadowing sight of the Sylvian scene, which is an allusion taken from John Milton's Paradise Lost, and it describes the moment when Saturn enters the Eden. Silverstein is in this poem foreshadows the brutal scene of the rape in the upcoming lines. In line 99, the change of Philomel is an allusion taken from Ovid's Metamorphosis. The change of Philomel indicates the rape of Philomel by her sister's husband, King Darius, who falls in love with her and rapes her repeatedly and then cuts off her tongue in the woods, and in the end she became a nightingale and tell everyone her story, and with her voice which is still crying in the desert where no one can hear anything, and the world is like a desert where no one hears anything of brutality, and the world is still pursuing the violent and crude practice of sex. In line 103, Jug Jug indicates the repetition of the same violent thing again and again, that's all is not heard by the dirty ears of the people in the world. And Nightingale's cry in the world, which is wasteland, is entirely meaningless. And there are more ancient stories leaning on the wall in a form of withered stumps of time, and their stories can be heard in the room, but there is no clear indication in the poem about their details. So let's move on towards the scene where there are sounds of footsteps are which are heard on the stairs, and the lady who is sitting in the room like Cleopatra is glowing under the light in the room, but she is still and quite like Philomel. There are very contrasting situation created here. Her rich appearance and her quietness and helplessness. Her quietness in the poem describes the lack of companionship and friendship in a marriage, which makes a relation very savage, where there is no expression. Moving towards line 111 to 126, my nerves are bad tonight. Yes, bad, stay with me. Speak to me. Why do you never speak? Speak. What are you thinking of? What thinking? What? I never know. What are you thinking? Think. I think we are in Rat Alley, where the dead man lost their bones. What is that noise? Then the wind under the wood, under the door. What is that noise now? What's the wind going? What's the wind doing? Nothing again, nothing. Do you know nothing? Do you see nothing? Do you remember nothing? I remember there are pearls in that one in his eyes. Are you alive or not? Is there nothing in your head? Moving towards the explanation of these lines, now take place a dialogue between the lady and her husband in which she expresses her neurotic conditions. She requests her husband to talk to her because she is very bad. She has gotten very, very bad nerves, and she asks him to express his feelings to her. And the lady is very abruptly questioning her husband about his thoughts. But the husband replies that they are living in the Rat's Alley, which is an allusion taken from the trenches of Somme in World War One, where rats are feeding upon the dead bodies of the soldiers, and their bones would be unidentified. And they are also living in that alley where dead peoples have lost their bodies and bones. The lady then asks about the kind of noise which is created by the wind coming under the door and if there is something alive, but the husband replies with nothing. The phrase, the wind under the door, is an allusion taken from the John Webster play, The Devil's Law Case. The lady asks her husband whether he can see things or not, or hears or not, or if he remembers something at all. Then the husband remembers something and replies that he remembers the pearl are actually the eyes of the Phoenician sailor. And this is an allusion taken from the part first of the Wasteland, the burial of the dead. And it indicates here that a kind of accident in life which has made a person unable to talk and think. Then the lady inquires about his existence and questioning that if he is alive or not, if something is in his head or not. And there is repetition and nothingness in these lines. Moving towards line 128 to 138, but oh, that Shakespearean rag. It's so elegant, so intelligent. What shall I do now? What shall I do? I shall rush out as I am and walk the street with my hair down. So, what shall we do tomorrow? What shall we do ever? The hot water at 10, and if it rains, a closed car at 4, and then we shall play a game of chess, pressing lidless eyes and waiting for a knock upon the door. Moving towards the explanation of these lines, the husband answers with an exaggeration about Shakespeare's Rag, which was a jazz song in 1912, which is so elegant and intellectual. The lady once again started questioning that what should she do if she rushes outside and walks in the street with her this rough appearance. Her, she questions again herself in desperation that what shall they do tomorrow and forever. This all reflects the idea of emptiness and hopelessness of their lives, and the lady is struggling finding any purpose of her existence. Her husband replies her with a couple of different routine things that the hot water comes at 10, and if there is the rainy season, that they will get a car at 4 and they will play a game of chess. They are watching with their open eyes to the door if they are if they are hopeful for something, someone's arrival, but which will never come. There is no intimacy shown in their relationship. They are just figures on the chessboard which are lifeless, cooled, empty, and solid. Moving towards line 139 to 152. When Leil's husband got demobbed, I said, I didn't mince my words. I said to her myself, hurry up please, it's time. Now Albert's coming back. Make yourself a bit smart. He'll want to know what you done with that money he gave you. He get yourself some teeth? He did. I was there. You have them all out, Lil, and get a nice set. He, he said, I swear I cannot bear to look at you, and no more can't. I said, and think to poor Albert. He has been in the army for years. He want a good time, and if you don't give it him, there's others will. I said, "Oh, is there? Oh, is there?" She said, "Something of that." I said, "Then I'll know who to thank." She said, "I give me straight look. Hurry up, please, it's time." Now, this is the second part of the poem. Now, the setting of the poem has changed, and there is a scene from a pub in the east end of the London. And there is shown a conversation of the two ladies from the lower class. One lady is saying that Lil's husband, who is Albert, is retiring from the army and he will ask her wife about the money and she should groom herself by getting some false teeth. Her husband, her friend asks her that Albert is coming from the war after a long time and he wants some good romantic time with her, with his wife Lil. And if she doesn't give it him, then there will be other for him to compensate his life's wife's companionship. Lil gets the notion of her friend and who will spend time with Albert when she looks straight into her friend's eyes. The bartender asks them to hurry up for the second time, but they ignores him, moving towards line 153 to 162. If you don't like it, you can get on with it, I said. Others can pick and choose if you can't. But if Alberts make off, it won't be for lack of telling. You ought to be ashamed, I said, to look so antique. And her only 31. I can't help it, she said, pulling a long face. That it's them pill I took. I bring it off, she said. She has five already and nearly died of young George. The chemist said it should be all right. I have, but I have never been the same. You are a proper fool, I said. Moving towards the explanation of these lines, Lil friends asked her that if she should not take care of her husband, then someone else will do so. And if she loves Albert, it will be all up to her attitude. And Lil should be ashamed of looking so old because she is only 31 and the pills she is taking for abortion. But Lil replies that she cannot help it. She already had five abortions and nearly died delivering George. The doctor asks her that she will be all right, but nothing is going to be the same. Moving towards line 163 to 172, well, if Albert won't leave you alone, there it is. I said, what you get, what you get married if you don't want children. Hurry up, please, it's time. Well, that Sunday, Albert was home. They had a hot gammon, and they asked me in to dinner to get the beauty of it hot. Hurry up, please, it's time. Hurry up, please, it's time. Good night, Bill. Good night, Lo. Good night, May. Good night. Tata. Good night. Good night. Good night, ladies. Good night, sweet ladies. Good night. Good night. Moving towards the explanation of these lines, it it is good if Albert won't leave her, but she is a proper fool for she married because she didn't want kids. Why did she marry if she don't want kids? The bar is going to close and the bartender is shouting at them to finish their drink and leave the bar, but they are continuously ignoring him. Lid ignores the bartender and continues her sentence to explain why she got married and now is entrapped in this marriage. She said that it was a party at Albert's home and she was invited to see and he invited her to see her beauty. But meanwhile the bartender made them leave and the bar and they both bid good night to each other several times. Last line are taken from Shakespeare's Hamlet, which is an allusion when Ophelia says good night before committing suicide. The use of illusion in the last line of the poem could be an indication towards the concept that only death can take her out of the marriage trap. Tata is informal way of saying goodbye in England, and this indicates the social strata of these ladies who are belonging from it, which is the lower class of the society. There are shown two ladies, both are entrapped in a sexual relationship like either Cleopatra and Ophelia, who are waiting for death. They may not apparently in the poem but commit suicide, but the paranoid state of their minds are predicting it to some extent. Moving towards the major themes of the poem: marriage, love relationship, and sexual life in the modern poem, in the modern world. Sorry. Phy- phys- Psychological, social, and emotional collapse, which was brought by World War I in the society, and isolation in the and alienation in the modern world. Moving towards the literary style and devices used in the poem. From line 77 to 110, there contains a continuous imagery that they describe the image of the whole room, and using of imagery of illusion, sorry, where this rich lady is sitting. Several allusions are taken from different literary works. An allusion is taken for the title of the poem from Thomas Middleton's play A Game at Chess. In line 77, an allusion is taken from Shakespeare's Antonio and Cleopatra's a tragic drama by Shakespeare. In line 92, an allusion, Lycaria, is taken from Virgil Aeneid, and the poems becomes an abrupt and irregular when the rich lady expresses her mind, and it does not seem like a poem. After this part, the poem returns to its stable structure. Phrase like I said, she said, hurry up please, it's time, creates an imagery in the poem. And there is an allusion taken from Shakespeare's Hamlet in the last line of the poem. There are repetition of words and lines several times in the poem. Red Alley is an allusion taken from the trenches in World War I, and there is a deep foreshadowing about the lives of the both ladies in the poem and their depressive love lives. And the game of chess is a clever and strategic and intellectual game, and it symbolizes the relationship between a couple where love and romances no longer exist, and their relationships has been transformed like a game where one opponent try to overcome the other, and they try to employ strategies to win. That's all about the poem. Thanks for watching. I hope you will like or dislike the video. Also comment in the comment box for further inquiry, and subscribe to my channel if you like the video.